powerful tranq gun on the market.
Yes! Ow! That's awesome!
Old school.
Instead of kicking it old school, we are punching it new school. I'll come up with something later. Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam. Welcome back to the Phillips Project, where we're going to be covering every movie directed by Todd Phillips in honor of Joker Folie à Deux. The review for Road Trip is already live on the channel. Check it out at the link in the eye in the right-hand corner. But now it is on to Todd Phillips' sophomore effort, Old School. This was released in 2003, and it starred the early to mid-2000s comedy Avengers, Will Ferrell, Vince Vaughn, and Luke Wilson. But I've got to introduce my collab for this entire project, Jacob Collins. Jacob, how you doing?
Well, I'm about to go streaking, so I'm really happy. You know, I'm going to go down and get drunk and then go run down the road going, what?
Oh, dear God, those poor people in Mississippi. But joining us for this particular installment of the Phillips Project, the Small Talk crew unites once again. It is Matt Wyatt. Matt, how you doing?
Well, Jake, I hope people will enjoy your streak and exposing everyone into the neighborhood in Mississippi.
Like I said, this starred pretty much the heavy hitters of comedies in the early to mid 2000s. Like if there was one of these guys was involved in it somehow. Will Ferrell, Vince Vaughn, Luke Wilson, and also
all I needed was Ben Stiller and Jon Favreau.
Jon Favreau's not in this one.
I know. I said all we needed was Ben Stiller and Jon Favreau, and we had the whole comedy duo.
Oh, that's a good point. Yes. But it tells the story of three friends who are middle-aged and their lives have hit a considerable speed bump, all of them. And so they all collectively decide to start a college fraternity, because that is exactly what you do when you hit a midlife crisis. But this ruffles a lot of feathers, including the dean of Harrison University named Dean Pritchard, played by Jeremy Piven, who dead ass was Ari Gold in Entourage the same time as this. Which
fun fact, you know, Will Ferrell's wife, the character in the movie, also played the wife of Ari in Entourage. So we had two actors who were in Entourage at the time.
Old School is a movie that is very near and dear to the hearts of Jacob and Matt, but this is my first time watching it. For me personally, I liked it fine. It made me laugh a couple times, but I prefer Road Trip over this one. And that movie has Tom Green in it. So think about
the difference is in Road Trip, most of the stuff in the film are not even fucking real. Tom Green made the whole fucking thing up. This one was actually a reality.
It wasn't like Will Ferrell was telling the whole shit like on a podcast.
Yeah, it's not like he's fucking going on a radio station and fucking telling the whole story of his
the whole
version
movie,
of the story.
The Road Trip is from the perspective of Tom Green. So just think about that, okay?
Like how much percentage that he told the story were accurate? Like 20%?
Like literally, there's a story about it. He literally says the bad guy starts a cult and the only one to drink the Kool-Aid.
You had Amy Smart calling in the bomb threat as a diversion.
Crazy.
Or a car getting blown up after they made the whole jump.
Even more
Or
crazy.
they basically join a black fraternity, and then of course they get accepted immediately, and then one of them hooks up with one of the chicks there.
Then they dance, and then they dance.
That's not far-fetched.
Or their sperm, or giving away, like selling their sperm. Remember that scene in Sean William Scott?
That shit is just so far-fetched. That was
so far-fetched. Especially the woman who was one of the tours asked Tom Green, like, that's actually possible. He's like, yeah, it's definitely possible. Like yeah, right.
Or whenever like they steal the bus from a blind person.
Yeah, they literally stole a fucking short bus from a blind person, pretending to be a mechanic, and got it all the way back from that fucking campus and never gotten caught.
Also,
I'm surprised they didn't get arrested.
Someone pointed a plot problem out with me, saying he said he set the dog on fire and he was never allowed back. I seen the damn dog. The dog doesn't look like it was caught on fire.
No, we have watched the unrated version for this one. You'll know it's the unrated version because Andy Dick.
There is a grapefruit class that is being taught, and well, let's just say it's a banana and a cucumber class
and a carrot
that women are practicing,
and the guy who looks like a Wendy's or a guy who looks like the lame version of Walmart for fucking Ronald McDonald.
Yeah, in a theatrical cut, they just like skip right past it because of
which is the second time that the second time that Andy Dick was in Todd Phillips' movie, because he was also in Road Trip that made a cameo.
I'm trying to think. Is he in Starsky? I'm trying to think now because it's been years since I've seen Starsky and Hutch. Is he? I don't know if he's in Starsky and Hutch. I know Sean William Scott's not, but
I cannot be
Also, Sean
far.
William Scott was also in this movie too. He made another cameo.
I
Looking,
know it's like I was waiting for Tom Green to show up.
he straight up looks like MacGruber. If you all know who
He
MacGruber
looks
is.
like MacGruber's brother.
It's really a MacGyver at that time. MacGyver.
Yeah.
But
The mullet,
regardless,
it's got Billy
Sean William Scott provides one of the funnier scenes in the movie where he shoots Will Ferrell in the neck with a tranquilizer
No,
dart.
no.
Well, to be fair, no, he shot
shoots
himself
in there
on an
he's so-
accidental
Oh,
shot
you're
from a
right.
tranquilizer.
You're right. When you're right, you're right.
He's
But
like, you took that from the jugular. Oh, nice.
Pulled it out, man. Wait. Pull what out?
Pull what
Dart,
out?
man. You got a
Oh,
fucking
what?
dart in your neck, man. And it's like, you're crazy.
But most of
I
these
just-
most of these actors were like not like big stars at the time. I mean, the only one that was more of a big name was Will Ferrell and Luke Wilson because he's the brother of Owen Wilson, and Will Ferrell was just coming off of Saturday Night Live.
I mean, I think was he still on there at the time?
Vince Vaughn was still just working as an actor. He came out a year like before Dodgeball.
Yeah, this was back when Vince Vaughn was still considered a serious actor because he did like a bunch of.
I mean, I remember Will Ferrell when I first watched Old School. We rented at Blockbuster, and I had no idea what this movie was about. And my brother picked it out, and we
I
watched
just
it.
remember how
And I saw
was in
Will
that.
Ferrell in the movie, and I recognized him. My first exposure to that to the actor. I remember him from Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. He played the
Yeah.
federal wildlife marshal, and I did not because I didn't watch him in SNL at the time until like later, and I was like, oh wow, I get it why he's casting roles like this.
You know what I remember him from? Night at the Roxbury.
oh yeah,
What's that?
That awful movie.
it's an
It was like
SNL
where
movie.
it's an SNL film. Also, I remember the first movie I saw with him was Superstar, starring Molly Shannon.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
That was my first SNL film. That was my first SNL. I owned that on VHS and I watched it religiously.
You know,
No pun
Well, yeah.
intended.
Well, my first SNL film was Wayne's World, of course.
two things I wanted to bring up about Will Ferrell. He had a pretty underrated 2003 because he was in a little movie called Elf a little later in the year, which is a Christmas
Oh, yeah.
classic. And then
Yeah, he worked with Jon Favreau.
and then harkening back to the 99 project, Will Ferrell had a small role in Austin Powers: The Spy Who Shagged Me. He wore the fez.
Yeah,
he
I
appears in the
didn't
first
even
two.
recognize him at first. Like he was in these two
He
movies.
has
I'm like,
the
oh
same
god,
role in the first one too, International Man of Mystery, where he gets killed and he goes, "I'm still alive. I'm still
who can't
alive."
even die? He has more lives than the cat for crying out loud.
I love how in the movie he's unnecessarily rude to all of the pledges. Like the scene on the roof, which got the biggest laugh out of me, where where they all tie the cinder blocks to their dicks. Like when that whole scene was going down, I'm like, number one, who got the short straw as to like who tied all of those to all? Did they all do it at once? Did they flip a coin? Like I need to know. And
Well, it's part of the initiation when you're the pledge. You have to take far extreme measures to be part of the
It was
pledge.
probably Howard Wolowitz ended up doing it from Big Bang Theory, who's in this movie.
Simon Kinberg, yes, but
I mean, they literally just started a fraternity out of the blue.
and then the
Well, the idea is, Luke Wilson. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, please finish. Go ahead.
No, all I was gonna say is I think that the idea of the movie is that Luke Wilson is just in it. Like he starts out, he's just sitting there. He's at a meeting he doesn't want to be at, and then when he comes home to his wife in a gangbang, and that kind of makes him like, which yes, that happens in the movie. His wife is literally there. It's like that was actually funny because he comes home expecting like to have his like, oh, my wife's watching porno. Ooh. And then all of a sudden, then like a next
Then you had the two couples coming out of the back of the from the bathroom,
I love
blindfolded.
He's like, ah, he tackles.
It's like I told you before. No, you didn't. I thought you were talking dirty.
And then Todd Phillips shows up in a cameo saying, hello.
Yeah, that
I'm
was
here for
Todd
the game.
Phillips. Did you know that did you notice that most of the cameos that Todd Phillips appeared in an R-rated raunchy comedy, he always appears as the same guy, the same appearance.
It's just
His
he's got like that
Drew
Weird Al haircut. and the
weird
mustache.
glasses, acting like he's just a player and all.
He's
He
like
appears in almost
Like
all the
tracksuit,
movies.
like he wears a tracksuit.
he's like how Alfred Hitchcock always appeared in his own movies as like a brief little role of like you blink and you miss it. Like Todd Phillips always shows up
Is the pervert in the
randomly for
movie.
no reason.
I will say, but yeah, the movie is a coming of age movie. I'm not coming of age, but because Old Road Trip was coming. This movie is a midlife crisis movie where the reason why they start the fraternity is because he's kind of just like in a rut, with his life. And I think because they throw that big ass party on campus and everyone loves him and calls him the Godfather now, everybody's just like, and that makes him really ego boost like Vince Vaughn and says, you know what, we should just start a fraternity. That way we could have this like, because you get that because they got to take.
Well, actually, they didn't. Well, actually, they didn't have the choice because they had the Ari, the dean, the douchebag who tried to vacate the premise because it's now becoming part of the campus, and they now have no other choice but start a fraternity in order to keep the place.
Yeah, and I
was
think
like, where the fuck did that come from? He has a big gripe with those two because they put him through a lot of hell back in the
when they
day.
were teenagers.
Yeah, when
I
they were
think-
fucking. He would never let that shit go. That's just his way of getting back at them.
I got a chuckle when he said, "What are you, a Jehovah Witness now?" I laughed at that.
I think
Oh,
that's as good
I'm
a place as
like,
any to talk about Jeremy Piven in the movie because man, like he was great. Like he's the best I can describe him is like if this movie were made in the 80s, like he's very much like an 80s principal or teacher that nobody likes. Like he's the one professor that Rodney Dangerfield like rubs up against in Back to School. Like he's the one teacher who is like, this is most unorthodox. Like not to that degree, but he's like the guy who like tries to ruin all the fun, even though low key he's kind of in the right for the most part. I mean, Piven's character is obviously like he flexes and uses his power for evil. Let's not get that twisted. He bribes that one law school student. Like that was just awful. Like when that happened, I'm like, douchebag.
How did Vince Vaughn was able to get Snoop Dogg performing at that party? How the hell did he?
That was
he said he owned Speaker City. He literally says in the director's the unrated version. He goes, I have all this sound equipment. I paid all this money, everything. You think I'm going to do this for a fucking like marching band? For a fucking marching band.
I did love the earmuffs joke. Remember the earmuffs joke when he's trying to get
Earmuffs.
his little kid earmuffs? Then you can say fuck shit, bitch, all you
Like
want.
cock balls.
Cock balls.
Yes.
Dude, I'm trying to make a point. Don't try to celebrate.
But no, but I will say that.
Are we not going to talk about that? Will Ferrell got the shaft out of all the three of these characters in the movie.
yeah.
He's one day getting married, and then he gets kicked out of the fucking house by getting caught by streaking in the fucking neighborhood. and it just looks like that he's the one getting the worst part out of the three.
I felt bad because I just realized Frank the Tank literally means he tanks. Frank just tanks. I thought it meant like a tank. No, it means like Frank, he just tanks. Like he starts out, Frank starts out high, and then he just tanks horribly. Because if you noticed, after he gets drunk at that party, his whole life just spirals downward to where I'm just like, he's like he gets
they
the
barely even explore the marriage, their whole marriage drama. They barely touch on it that much. And oh man, I love the wedding singer, the one guy who was the one doing the music.
Was funny.
Yeah, which they brought back the same guy in the end of the Hangover movie.
Oh, and they also bring him in Starsky and Hutch as well.
Like the way he was giving out the lyrics, it feels like that Vince Vaughn character was trying to tell him what the saying of the lyrics, just to send a message that you made a fucking big mistake marrying.
He does
because you made it. That's the biggest mistake in your life. You're only gonna get one pussy in your life, in your one whole life. That's done, bro.
Which, by the way, and at the end, that really spins itself back around because at the end he's gonna get to gangbang, so he's gonna get multiple pussies. So good for him.
He was like, awesome.
He's like,
which they use that as a GIF now.
He finally gets it at the end. At the end, he's like, "Yeah,
that was Luke Wilson's ex. That was his ex."
Yeah, I just like how it Fast Times at Ridgemont Highs at the end.
Dude,
where
remember the fucking end of the movie? Remember the fucking dean and the one jerk off boyfriend?
They get killed.
They both get fucking murdered. They both die in an explosion. Like how convenient and how dark that shit really was.
It was so dumb. I'm like, wow, what did you think when you saw that? When you're like, what the fuck? Like,
I never felt so dumb ever since that Billy Madison with a Doyle fucking family. A Doyle rules, and they all fucking drive out the fucking cliff in the canyon and all died.
Yeah, Ryan, what did you think of that scene whenever he saw the car fall and killed Dean Pritchard and blow up?
That was certainly wild. Like the entire time I was like, man, I do not like you. But when that happened, I was like, You what? Like how? It just came
Blows
out of
up for no
nowhere.
reason. Just blows up.
My guess is was karma. Let karma take care of it.
It's like the
I want
opening
to.
scene of Casino where Robert De Niro walks to the car and all of a sudden like the car explodes.
Which I want to say, the scene that made me laugh, like obviously the scene, the funniest scene to me is always the scene when Will Ferrell's thinks he's daydreaming about his wife, and then he like Sean William Scott's get mouth to mouth. All of a sudden, he sticks his tongue in Sean William Scott's mouth. And goes,
Yeah, he went balls deep into his tongue, giving him mouth to mouth like
he tongue fucked him basically. It's like
tongue fuck. He giving him a tongue fucked, and he pushes him back in the pool. It's like, oh.
I'm not gonna lie, that was the freaking hilarious. I was dying laughing. And they just went like this. He goes, and then all of a sudden, Will Ferrell's like, he goes, oh, he fucking French kissed
He
me.
just went all tongue twister at him.
Like, that was also I like when Will Ferrell got caught on fire when they're doing the gymnastics thing, and Will Ferrell jumps and misses the net and catches on fire, and everybody's like, "Oh my god!" And then Jeremy Piven goes, like, he thought that shit was hilarious.
That was very funny when the big guy just did his obstacle and just trip flip. Like, what the fuck? I thought he was just gonna fall and hurt himself.
Oh, what about Blue? Let's talk about Blue. I love.
Oh,
Blue.
Blue.
Ryan, what do you
My
think
boy,
of Blue?
The greatest death, one of the greatest deaths in comedy movie history. This man on his birthday, he's gonna be like wrestling these two ladies, like full on
Topless
like
woman.
Topless women.
breasts out, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it," and then I'm just like, that is
He just
just
like
amazing.
he died a happy. Hey, he died doing what he
He's
loved.
like, you my boy, Blue.
You my
He's
boy,
like,
Blue. He just fucking he sings the song "Dust in the Wind." Are we not going to talk about it at the very end of the credits, right after that, the dean dies and the jerk off boyfriend dies? Then we see Blue in heaven just singing the song "Dust in the Wind."
Which I love that song. Like that song.
That shit was so silly. That was a Happy Gilmore ripoff scene with Chubbs in heaven playing the piano and singing the song.
I mean, but it worked. I would say that's always that scene was coming off to me as odd because I'm like, kind of ruins the illusion of the movie because you're just like, okay, like, come on, like
Little bit of a far fetch. Oh yeah, let's talk about with Luke Wilson banging the high school chick
Oh
and his
God,
boss's daughter.
Ryan was like, what the fuck?
I wonder how old that she was in her character in the movie. She was probably like 18, I'm guessing. Hopefully.
Like when that happened, me in the future put in the JonTron clip of him saying that one didn't age quite so well.
That one didn't age quite so well.
Because it didn't. And I know it's
No.
2003, is a different time. It's over 20 years ago.
It was a different time, and it was and it was literally fuck you to cancel culture.
I mean, American Pie did the same thing with Stifler and Finch.
I understand.
Yeah,
like I don't necessarily have a problem with them having the ability to do it. It's just the doing it that I had the issue with. And it's not a huge plot point in the movie. I mean, it comes back later to bite Luke Wilson in the ass, but I mean, it's not dwelt on too much.
The actress was in 24. She was in The Girl Next Door.
And she's also House of Wax remake.
Yeah, she was in that as well. Yeah.
So I will say, I have mixed feelings on it, I guess.
What are some things you really liked? Like, tell us, what is something that you just like, that was to me, like, you did not see that coming, that just had you like, whoa.
I like the montage where they're under the academic review, and then the debate comes, and Jeremy Piven, his character, Dean Pritchard, literally gets James Carville from the show Crossfire on. And he's like, yep, I'm ready. And then Will Ferrell, just like something comes over him and he just does that perfect like debate answer. And James Carville's like, yeah, we don't have anything.
And he's like, oh, and he just ran out his breath. Are we not going to talk about when they were doing a test on a fucking Q&A
They're just cheating.
test?
They're just like,
they were literally cheating off of the test. They all were in the whole class. That was the funniest shit ever.
I was like, Jeremy, when Vince Vaughn whispers to Dean Pritchard, goes, awesome test. I'm surprised he said, hey, he's talking. Like, I'm surprised that Jeremy Piven again, like, he's talking.
At least in The King of Queens, like when Kevin James was helping Ray Romano cheat on the DMV test. He was like, do 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 do
Oh,
do
and
do.
did you know that Vince Vaughn's
25
wife? Did
miles
you
an
know Vince
hour.
Vaughn, the actress who plays Vince Vaughn's wife in the movie?
Was he
She
King of Queens?
co-starred
Leah
with Kevin
Remini.
James.
Yeah,
The Kings of the Queen. Yeah,
that
Kings
was
of
nice.
Queens.
That was a nice reference.
What was it funny? Do you think it was really funny whenever Owen Wilson? The thing is, Will Ferrell does not want that crock or that oyster fryer, and he keeps trying to regift it to everybody. Like he gives it to a little kid at a birthday party. He goes, "It's got 6 speeds," and Vince Vaughn just looks at him like,
He re-gifts it with Wilson before.
"Leave it to."
It's like, I gave it to you as a wedding gift. Really?
He just doesn't like
Wrote it
oysters. He's
out
like,
at
I
that
don't.
point.
He
Wrote it out.
probably hates oysters so much, and one of the favorite scenes is when they all gather together to kidnap one of the bunch of pledges. That shit
That
was
was
fucking
so
hilarious.
funny, especially
Especially
when
when Will Ferrell just say, "Hey, like if you tell me I want to fucking kill you, don't." I'm just joking. I'll come back in an hour. I was like, damn.
All soundtrack to Master of Puppets by Metallica, which is an interesting choice.
Master.
Wasn't
a
it
good
funny when
song,
I like when they reference Blue's age, like this dude's like 90, and he goes, "You kidding?" He talks nothing of us about it. Like even one person's like, Blue is literally when they're at the birthday party, Will Ferrell drops the drink because they said he's trying to tell people, "Oh, it's not like that. We're just like we're friendly pledge." And then Will Ferrell drops his drink and says, "You call this iced tea? You drop and give me 20, or drop and give me 10." And he's now. He's just like, mm-hmm. Like it's just like I thought that was funny. Also, the whenever the BJ class scene with Andy Dick, wherever like he walks in, he looks to the window, just like looks, he catches like
Just from that angle,
oh.
it looked like his wife was going down on him.
And then he tries to strangle him. And Andy Dick throws him
Just
over the
Andy
table.
Dick just kicks his ass.
It's his face.
I was like, where the fuck did this guy come from when he's given a demonstration of how to do a BJ properly? That just felt so random. Like, that's so far-fetched to me.
Well, I mean, they referenced it earlier in the movie where it says, "My friend," he said, "with a book, and we get."
I know, but the way they did it, come on, bro. Like that, but it's super ridiculous, but it
Which
was
also,
just funny.
Which I'm like, like I said, I would say that's far fetched, but like, there are people on YouTube that do that stuff for like,
Well, this was
like,
before.
so,
Well, this was before YouTube became a thing. So
I mean,
yeah,
like, it's not as far fetched now, but yeah, back
not
then, like,
now, not anymore.
yeah, like, I mean, you could probably Google that shit on YouTube.
Yeah.
I will say that I do like that the fight scene between Luke Wilson, Will Ferrell and Jeremy Piven is hilarious at the end, especially where he just starts smacks him in the face and he throws him against the glass, just beating
Like
the
he
shit
throws
out of
him
Will
into the trophy case, and I'm just like, wow, this escalated quickly. And then they go into the lecture hall. He's like, he assaulted me. He assaulted me. And I'm like, yes, very.
I mean, Will Ferrell should have done that. Will Ferrell should have done that Anchorman style. Like, wow, that escalated very quickly.
Like, and then the case is, "I got the tape though." I'm just like,
He was able to snatch that tape out of that recorder.
I mean, that I just think that was so funny. It's like literally, but the thing is, did anyone else like catch that? Like, where like the pledges, I think I like the idea that like, whenever whenever like Jeremy Piven is just out there to just destroy what them, and because he doesn't like them. And then Luke Wilson, by the way, who, if you don't know this, he's called One Take Luke because he always gets everything done in one take. He never ever has to do multiple takes in movies. Like
So he never had to. So he never had to do multiple takes.
Yeah, they call him One Take Luke. And so like as they say, when everybody's cracking up, he's just like he's. And I like that about Luke Wilson because he's a really good actor. I know some people say, well, he's not as funny as his brother. I like him as an actor. I think he is the straight guy into the comedy.
He doesn't need to be. I mean, Luke Wilson, some of the material has been subpar. Like, I cannot stand the Royal Tenenbaums, but his performance is good. He somehow made me feel a little bit, small bit, sorry for a guy who tried to commit suicide because he couldn't, like, date his adopted sister. That is so screwed up on so many levels, but I have a whole review on the channel talking about the Royal Tenenbaums, so watch that at your heart's content.
That's not Wes Bentley, Wes Anderson, sorry. I said Wes Bentley's king. Wes Bentley's like, I've never even did that. Wes Bentley's like, I swear, I'm like, my wife is not my son. I know, Wes Anderson, not Wes Bentley. Sorry, Wes Bentley. Wes Bentley's gonna come after me now. He's gonna be like, I swear. He goes, look,
Him and
I've been in
him
a
and
lot
the
of
rest
bad
of the
movies.
Duttons.
But and I will say, this is a great. I like this movie. It's a coming of age story, and I like how at the end it ends with basically Luke Wilson overcoming. Like he basically is on top now. He's got the girl. The only thing is, I feel like the love story was kind of thrown aside because it feels like at the end they never ever go back to it. They just like she shows up at the end and goes, "Hey, yeah, I found out he was cheating." Like it just kind of wraps itself up without really.
It was cliche. It was a little
Yeah.
cliche.
That's why I feel like I could see somebody criticizing the love story. Like there is not really a like old road trip. At least the road story was played out from everybody's perspective. You could see, even though we don't know if that was true or not, but still, you know, it was Jokerized in that movie. Which if you get that reference, then you're a legend. If you get the Jokerized version, remember, because in Joker,
Yeah,
like we don't know if
Yeah.
Joker like this all happened, if it was all in his head. You know?
If that was all in his head and all. And they
Ironically, both made by Todd Phillips.
exactly.
Yeah, ironically.
But
So this was Tom Green was proto Joker.
he walked so Joaquin Phoenix could run. But on my scale, I'm gonna give this movie a good rating, but a high good rating. I prefer Road Trip over this, but the movie still made me laugh, which in terms of its assignment, it clearly succeeded. There's some stuff that has not aged well, like I talked about, but I mean, it's 2003. Like we gotta understand like where the time frame was and what comedies were like back then, and it was what it was. But
Yeah.
the movie made me laugh on more than one occasion, so there you go.
I grew up watching Old School every now and then. I watch it every once a year with my brothers because we get a kick out of it. We quote this movie a lot. So yeah, it's not perfect, and sure, this movie would not be made like this today because they were able to get away with it in the early 2000s and all the other comedies. And then because now today's day and age, like it's harder to make a really good comedy without watering it down or try to soften it and playing it safe. This one, they took a bold risk, and we didn't have social media, so that's why they were able to get away with a lot of shit. And I thought what Todd Phillips did was really good. I thought it was a much better comedy than Road Trip for different reasons. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I enjoyed Road Trip and I laughed my ass off. Even though I watched it very late in the game like back in the day because I didn't watch it when it came out at the time. But the difference is that this story actually happened, and this Road Trip movie was just more telling the one person's perspective, which most of the stuff was like 20% true and probably 80 like 90% BS. But it's just one of those times where you just gonna have to not think about it and just turn your brain off and just have a fun ride from Road Trip. But now with Old School, yeah, this is a movie I would watch every once a year, of course, and I got a kick out of it, so I give it like an 8 out of 10.
All right, Jacob, what about you?
Well, I thought your comments about Old School Ryan was rather shallow and pedantic. I think this movie is very quit. Yeah, I'm joking. I like the movie. I mean, is it great? No, but then again, no comedy is great. I'm sure people like. I honestly think The Hangover is the funniest out of all of his movies he did. But I will say I do enjoy this movie a lot. I will say, yeah, like I mean, this movie is fine for what it is. It came out at a time and it has the social commentary of midlife crisis, and it literally is a movie that, some people will enjoy. I will say in 10 years, Ryan, you're probably when you're in middle age in 10 years, you're probably gonna really enjoy this movie. Matt, in
Maybe
like 2 years, you're gonna really enjoy this movie even more.
But I just think that it's not perfect. It's not like there's some few memorable moments, but it's not going to be like, oh my God, it's going to change my life forever. It's like, yeah, it was fun for what it was, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I won't put this movie on par with The Hangover. The Hangover really just took it up a notch and really just put a lot of these ensemble cast members on the map, really, with Zach Galifianakis, fucking
Well, so
Bradley
did
Cooper.
Road Trip.
Yeah, well, Road Trip was more Todd Phillips that put Todd Phillips in more a raunchy R-rated comedy.
Well, I mean, not Road
movie.
Trip, but Old School. Old School. Will Ferrell made Will Ferrell's career, and Vince Vaughn.
That's true. Yeah, it did. Because Vince Vaughn was just a working actor. Will Ferrell was just coming off of SNL. Will Wilson was already a well-established name. Everybody knew who Will Wilson was.
Yeah, I mean, but I would say it's a great movie. This is a great movie. I mean, it's not perfect, but nothing is. But yeah, I will say this is like Todd Phillips, especially if you watch the School for Scoundrels. there are a lot of actors in that movie. By the way, I think you could play a game of how many Big Bang Theory actors he has in his movies, because Sheldon appears as a background actor in School for Scoundrels.
Dude, I even forgot that he directed that movie. I forgot
Yeah.
he directed it. I
And
didn't
you
know
have
it was
like
actually him.
Howard in this one, and then I think, I don't know if he got Johnny Galecki.
For old school, or
No, I'm saying, did he get him at all? I don't think he did. I keep thinking
hang on,
he didn't. Yeah, no, Johnny Galecki was not in none of his movies. Although I will say I really enjoyed this movie. This movie's fantastic. Um, I know he got Sheldon, and I know he had Howard Wolowitz. Which, by the way, Simon Helberg literally looks exactly the same as he does in Big Bang Theory, and I'm sure he was in his 20s in that. I think he was like in his 30s or 40s when he was shooting Big Bang Theory.
yeah,
Are you talking about the actor who plays Sheldon?
Howard Wolowitz.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
as for Sheldon, Sheldon appears in the School for Scoundrels. He is literally in the entire film as a background actor.
yeah, like
Yeah,
Simon
well,
Kinberg has
you got
not.
you got to really watch it to spot these people that you may recognize, because most actors who start off, they start off background acting, they become
Rob
extras.
Cordday's in this movie in Old School. He's
Yeah,
literally
I
one
know.
of the pledges.
It's like, yeah, I didn't. He had no dialogue in his movie. He plays one of the pledge. He has no dialogue. He was not a well-known name at the
I
time.
think
He was
he's also
mostly
in
an
School for
extra.
Scoundrels as well. I think he also is in School for Scoundrels
Maybe.
as one of the classroom, as one of the people. I know Sheldon is.
I think when people started to recognize that guy, I think it was around the time when he did Harold and Kumar, the Escape from Guantanamo Bay. I think that's what really put his name.
Or at Children's Hospital.
Yeah, maybe that one too. Yeah. Yeah, Children's Hospital. Yeah, of course. It was one on Adult Swim.
He played the clown, the guy dressed
Yeah,
as the doctor.
he played the
clown
clown
face.
doctor or something.
Like, it looks like a juggalo.
Yeah.
The juggalo doctor.
A fucking juggalo doctor.
Insane clown posse. Insane
Oh my
clown
God.
posse doctor. Yeah, so I was saying, this has a lot. I like how Todd Phillips, you've always, every actor you see always is like, oh wow, because like Matt Walsh appears in almost every single Todd Phillips movie. He was in Road Trip, The Hang. I'm sure he's in Starsky and Hutch. I know he's in School for Scoundrels, and I know he's in The Hangover. He wasn't in Joker, and I don't think he was in War Dogs. Yeah, he was in Due Date though.
What actor? What's his name?
Matt Walsh.
Matt Walsh. Hold on. I think
In fact, he's even called Walsh in Old School, because literally, like, he's Luke Wilson's co-worker.
No. He was definitely not in Joker. He was definitely not in Joker.
I know he was. I think,
he's been in a lot of Todd Phillips movie that you recognize.
Yeah, he didn't. I don't think he appeared in Hangover 2 or 3.
I think he only appeared in the first one.
Yeah, although he does appear on the Hangover 3 bonus feature, because as a joke, saying like, "Hey, Zach Galifianakis didn't want to do Hangover."
And he was in Due Date, which was another Todd Phillips movie with Robert Downey Jr. and Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, Matt Walsh is like literally like Todd Phillips is like when he does comedy, he has to.
But every time he does comedy with Todd Phillips, he's golden. Even if he has some short amount of screen time, he just sells the dialogue.
He's like the one that makes the comment about there might be a rape happened in this.
He just makes some snarky comments.
Where he's like, her joke that with Calloway's daughter, and then all of a sudden he gets slapped in the face by Luke Wilson. I'm sorry, but that did not happen that way. And then he's like, he
just slaps him. He's just like,
yeah. I feel like that was
that way.
I feel like I would, if you told me Luke Wilson.
Oh yeah, and they had John. Oh yeah, I forgot that John Belushi was in this movie too.
John Belushi wasn't. I was Artie Lang. John Belushi died in 1991.
Oh yeah, you're probably right. Maybe I'm getting the names mixed up.
Artie Lang, who was on Mad TV. Artie Lang was.
Yeah.
Artie Lang, yeah, he would literally. Everybody thought he was going to be somebody back in the 90s, and then of course he went nowhere. But hey, he's also in.
Yeah, it's Artie Lang. Yeah.
But I pass it off.
Which he was also in Beer League.
Ugh.
But I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of Old School? Let us know in the comments. Love to read what you have to say. Matt, thank you so much for joining us for this review of Old School. Your channel is going to be linked in the description. I'll tell everyone to go subscribe over there. You got anything coming up?
Not at the moment. I mean, if you want to check out my recent review for Alien Romulus, go and check that out.
Got the crow.
I'm still thinking about whether I should see The Crow or not. Like, I'm really on the fence to watch that movie. I want to check out Blank Twice, and what other new movie is supposed to be coming out this week? I don't.
Borderlands.
Well, it's already out.
Yeah.
You can watch Borderlands.
I'm not watching that
If you're
again.
Bored.
Strange
Borderlands
Darling,
are-
I've heard interesting things about.
It ends with us.
But but Matt's channel's gonna be linked below. Go give him a subscribe. Collins, what do you got coming up?
Well, Star Wars Outlaws comes out. I'm just gonna play that, and I'm gonna try to do a video game review for that soon. And I have a review coming out Monday for a movie that I think think people are gonna be happy. I don't want to say what it is, but it's very. I think people are gonna like it.
All right, and as far as this channel goes, Collins is going to be joining me continuing on with the Phillips project, where next up we're going to be talking about Starsky and Hutch, which my only reference to that is from a Notorious B.I.G. song. But for Matt Wyatt, for Jacob Collins, my name is Ryan Cam. We will see you all in the next one. Y'all take care.